Yeah, I decided to attend law school because I had done a lot of work in the environmental justice movement before school. I'd worked with Clean Water Action and done a lot of canvassing and um, policy work around PFAS in drinking water, lead service line removal, and also some coordinated opposition to the placement of a sewage sludge incinerator in an environmental justice neighborhood. In that last process, I saw how Mass DEP lawyers were actually helping us know our rights in terms of notice and comment periods and uh, just the ways that we could navigate the legal system. And I did see, the advantage of having someone on your side in these positions of power and how the tool of legal skills can be used to advance the environmental justice movement. So I wanted to gain access to that tool and be able to help community movements in that way. So that was my big motivator. Yeah, I mean, I think I was really raised and lucky to be raised in many ways by my parents to be an environmentalist. They like met at a beach cleanup in Bahrain. And so, I knew about recycling and waste management from a young age. And I think we all need to have our entry points into the environmental movement. So it was that for me matched with the fact that I was born and raised in Bahrain. And that is, a very low-lying archipelago next to Saudi Arabia. And it is very vulnerable to climate changes, rising temperatures, and rising seas. So, I once I understood and learned about the climate crisis, I saw how vulnerable Bahrain was and all the people I was raised around were to a lot of land loss and the future um, lack of habitability of the country within the next century. So when I came to the United States for undergrad, I focused on environmental science as my degree, as well as international relations. I was very interested in climate-induced migration, and find you know, the problem of forced movement by our changing climate to be one of the biggest problems now and in our future that we just do not have the legal structures to solve. So I was able to go and study abroad on the politics of climate justice and energy and food. And I was really lucky enough to learn from Indigenous community organizers in Bolivia, Vietnam, and Morocco that really showed me the environmental justice lens, introduced me to the just transition, where labor justice is integral to how we transition our energy sources, and how we need to focus on the wants and needs of the most directly impacted communities. So I think that's really evolved my environmentalism into essentially being about environmental justice and climate justice. Well, I think that NLG is definitely a political home for me, and it is just so wonderful to be surrounded by progressive lawyers in this space. I mean, the law is just so inherently conservative that it can be frustrating to constantly work within the confines of laws and regulations that are not intended to further justice for people who have been, intentionally harmed by it for so long. So I mean, even environmental lawyering, you're working with these big statutes that were great compared to nothing when they were passed in like the 70s, 90s through the 90s, but leave a lot to be desired in terms of real preventative work to make sure that the harm doesn't happen in the first place. So it's really nice to know that as an environmental lawyer, when I'm working creatively with, you know, laws that aren't in our best interest, that I'll always have NLG lawyers to talk to and bounce ideas off of who share the same frustrations in navigating these structures.